And we begin with a weather impact alert. A red flag warning is in effect right now. Thanks for joining us here at 6 a.m. I'm Eric Connors.
And I'm Netta Iranpour. These Santa Ana winds bringing an increased risk of fire. You're probably feeling the dryness out there. We have team coverage this morning. CBS 8's Regina Yorita is in Alpine with details on school closures and power shutoffs.
But we begin with Evan Ronnie for a check on the forecast here. Whipping around again, Evan?
Yeah, another windy day across San Diego County. We see that red flag warning expire at 7 p.m. today. Until then, though, you're going to feel how dry it is out there. Sunny conditions expected across the county. A little bit of haze out there, mainly because of the dust that's being sent over the mountains. What's also being sent over the mountains is that warm, dry air. That's why coastal temperatures are going to be in the mid-70s, inland valleys in the 70s. And then look at the cool down over the mountains, just upper 50s, because they are not holding on to much. They are going to see all that warm air from even the deserts head over the mountains and warm up the coastline. It's because those winds are coming from the east as opposed to the west. So when we have westerly flow, it's cool and moist air. When we have easterly flow, hey, you got warm, dry air, and it's particularly windy in this instance. So red flag warning is in effect across the valley floors and the mountains, again, expiring at 7 p.m. As we get toward the upcoming weekend, we'll start to see a little bit of a cool down in terms of those temperatures. But we do want to send things out to CBS 8's Regina Yorita. She is live in Alpine. She has more on the school closures and power shutoffs just because of how intense those wind gusts have been. Regina?
Yeah, good morning, Evan. I can tell you right now, winds are not as crazy as we were seeing them yesterday, but I know that that will pick up as the morning moves over. We are seeing pretty chilly temperatures here, but we are off of Tavern Road here in Alpine. This is an area where folks have been warned about possible power shutoffs because of those strong Santa Ana winds. In fact, San Diego Gas and Electric reported Wednesday that they will be conducting public safety power shutoffs in certain communities to help reduce wildfire risks. They may have to cut power to more than 24,000 customers because of extremely dry and blustery weather. I did check the SDG&E website to see how many customers are affected at this time, and it seems that it's over 1,200 people, mainly in the Far East County. Customers who have been notified should be prepared to be without power through Friday. The utility has opened its Emergency Operations Center to monitor conditions and has crews, materials, and equipment ready for response. As for schools, the Mountain Empire Unified School District canceled school yesterday and today. The San Diego County Office of Education says the high winds make travel to and from school challenging, especially for vehicles like school buses. Now, yesterday we did talk to residents who live in this area who say strong winds like these are common.
At a time, we try to keep the trees trimmed, and then the wind takes care of the limbs that need to be trimmed. They're all in my yard right now.
We turn the motorhome refrigerator and freezer on just in case we need to use it if the power goes out. We have some solar backups if we need it.
And guys, this goes without saying, but authorities are advising that you refrain from any outdoor burning while that warning remains in effect here in this area as well as other areas in the East County. But for now, I'll send things back to you guys.
All right, Regina, thank you. In just about 2 hours, President Biden is expected to address the nation on former President Donald Trump's projected win as president.
Yesterday, Vice President Kamala Harris conceded the election. CBS's Jared Hill now with the latest from Washington, D.C.
While I concede this election, I do not concede the fight that fueled this campaign.
At Howard University, Vice President Kamala Harris urged her supporters to accept the results of the 2024 election, but not give up the broader fight.
This is not a time to throw up our hands. This is a time to roll up our sleeves.
Harris also said she'll help with President-elect Donald Trump's transition and the peaceful transfer of power after calling earlier to congratulate him. The Trump team said in that call, President Trump acknowledged Vice President Harris on her strength, professionalism, and tenacity throughout the campaign.
We're going to make our country better than it ever has been.
Trump won, broadening his coalition from 4 years ago in nearly every state with almost every major demographic group. Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders chided Democrats, saying it shouldn't be a surprise that a party, quote, which has abandoned working class people would find that the working class has abandoned them. President Biden will address the nation today. In a statement, he praised his VP as a tremendous partner and public servant. Biden's team says the president also congratulated Trump on the phone. inviting him to the White House.
Certainly a happy day for the GOP.
On Capitol Hill, the Senate's top Republican took a victory lap yesterday, with the election flipping the upper chamber to GOP control. Republican leaders in the House are also claiming victory, though votes are still being counted to determine whether the GOP will have a full mandate in Washington. Jared Hill, CBS News, Washington, D.C.
And CBS News has also learned special counsel Jack Smith is making preparations to wind down his criminal case against Trump for conspiring to overturn the results of the 2020 election. Trump has denied wrongdoing. His legal team is also trying to get his New York hush money conviction thrown out of court.
This morning, data showing Donald Trump made record gains with Latino voters.
CBS 8's Chris Groh joining us live here in studio with a closer look at why that is. Good morning, Chris.
And good morning, Eric. And look, this is the postmortem because this is how a lot of the big questions about how we got here for both candidates are hopefully going to be answered as a lot of this data comes out. And of course, the one that already has caught a lot of eyeballs right now is the fact that the Latino vote and Trump with those gains. Now, we spoke with Rafael Fernandez de Castro, director of UCSD's Center for U.S.-Mexican Studies, about this topic. And he had this to say about what mattered to Latinos this election cycle and how many actually stayed out of the race.
Almost 14 million Latinos did not register to vote. So there's an under-registration of Latinos, the immigrants that come first. They don't want others to continue to come because they believe that this might depress the salaries.
And so what he went on to say is that many voted for what they perceived as easy fixes on issues like the economy. And as Rafael adds, despite anti-immigrant rhetoric, many Latinos still decided to vote for Trump because those polled prefer a more secure border. He also says that Trump's anti-abortion policies resonated with Latino voters. Now, as for the economy, that's an issue that many voters, regardless of demographic, listed as a top concern. So we also took a look at how a Trump presidency could impact the economy, where many households are struggling due to high prices from inflation. President-elect Trump shared numerous proposals on the campaign trail, but few specifics. He has proposed cutting taxes. We have heard the president-elect intends to extend his 2017 individual tax cuts. And he also has promised to remove taxes on tips and provide a tax credit for family caregivers. CBS's Jill Schlesinger had this to say about that plan.
Tax benefit that is awarded to a consumer or to a taxpayer and to a corporate taxpayer has to be paid for. And there has never been a plan to pay for these tax cuts.
And so what she's referring to there, of course, is the national debt, right? So if revenue goes down, then government spending is also going to have to go down. Another proposal is a tariff of at least 10% on all imported goods, 60% of those coming from China. Back to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Chris. 6:08 on this morning, and you mentioned the Santa Anas. They're still here.
Yeah, very breezy this afternoon. Dry out there. You can feel it for
the
sure.
Knuckles.
Yeah, right? Exactly. Chapstick. I've been applying it nonstop. Some people feel it in their throats. So what we have to keep in mind is that today is another day where that red flag warning is in play. It expires at 7 p.m. Beginning tomorrow, we're going to start to see those Santa Ana winds die down, but we're still going to hold on to that offshore component. And what that means is that we are still going to stay pretty warm for Friday afternoon and even Saturday afternoon. Could be a good thing for people who want to enjoy a warmer weekend, but we have to factor in that that fire danger remains very high. Looking at your temperatures out the door right now, it's pretty mild. In fact, in some cases, it's rather cold. Downtown San Diego at 47, El Cajon at 40 degrees right now. However, if you're in Carlsbad, 53, Del Mar, 57. So it depends on where you are to kick off the day, but some spots are pretty mild. Others are a little chilly. Layers are still recommended for the afternoon today. Want to point out what those wind speeds and humidity levels look like by the time we get to the afternoon. So most of our gusts are going to be upwards of 20 miles per hour, between about 20 and 30 miles per hour. We could see some closer to 35. That's going to drive down our humidity values. So in Poway, for example, 4 p.m., just ahead of sunset, about an hour ahead of it, we're going to be looking at humidity levels down to about 10%. Very, very dry. Fire crews are concerned when humidity levels drop below the teens. So if we're at 19%, we'd be concerned, let alone 9%. A little bit more mild out along the coastline, but still downtown San Diego at 10%. It's going to help keep our opportunity for rain at bay, so we don't have any chance for that between now and the weekend. Early next week, Monday, Tuesday, a trough of low pressure moves in, brings our chance for rain to 4%. a measly 4%, which means we're not really concerned about it yet. We'll keep tabs on what that trough of low pressure could do in our area, but generally it's just going to lead to an increase in cloud cover. That means 7 days that we're looking at here of dry skies moving forward. Let's check in on traffic at 6:10 here on our Thursday morning. And so far, we are not seeing all that much activity take place. I'll zoom in to one crash that could be causing some delays, but still it's green in both directions of the 5. This is on the 5 southbound, number 1 lane blocked and left-hand shoulder blocked with a crash there at La Jolla Parkway. You saw a couple other crashes on the screen there. CBS8.com/traffic can help you through those. Looking at your border wait times out the door right now, 100-minute wait, so about an hour 40 at the San Ysidro Port of Entry. You're not going to get across all that much faster, but you might save an extra 10 minutes at the Otay Mesa Port of Entry. It'll take you about an hour and a half. Ed and Eric.
Thank you very much, Evan. And now, did you feel it? A 3.5 magnitude earthquake just hit in Borrego Springs.
USGS saying it happened around 5:39 this morning. No word yet how far away it was felt.